Spirit of Yah, all I need. The Spirit of Yah, all I breathe. The Spirit of Yah, can't you see? The Spirit of Yah, wanna be in the Spirit of Yah. I long for His Spirit. I yearn for His Spirit. I long for His Spirit. I yearn for the Spirit of Yah. All I need, the Spirit of Yah. All I breathe, the Spirit of Yah. Can't you see? The Spirit of Yah, wanna be in the Spirit of Yah. I long for His Spirit. I yearn for His Spirit. I long for His Spirit. I yearn for the Spirit of Yah. All I need, the Spirit of Yah. All I breathe, the Spirit of Yah. Can't you see? The Spirit of Yah, wanna be in the Spirit of Yah.
YMBA and Da'ath and might, counsel to fear Yah and adore His light. These are the spirits we need in our life, to walk uprightly, be pleased in His sight.
I long for His Spirit. I yearn for His Spirit. I long for His Spirit. I yearn for the Spirit of Yah. All I need, the Spirit of Yah. All I breathe, the Spirit of Yah. Can't you see? The Spirit of Yah, wanna be in the Spirit of Yah. I long for His Spirit. I yearn for His Spirit. I long for His Spirit. I yearn for the Spirit of Yah. All I need, the Spirit of Yah. All I breathe, the Spirit of Yah. Can't you see? The Spirit of Yah, wanna be in the Spirit of Yah.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise and honor to the Holy One of Israel, to the Creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is, by saying hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah. Yah is righteous, Yah is holy, and let Yahweh be magnified. Again, the Creator has allowed us to come before you another day. bringing to you his great, holy, and exalted words, even the words of truth. My name is Mowreh IshYAH YIsraEL of the house of Israel, located right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, 2330 Kemper Lane, bringing to you nothing but the truth. And yes, it is true. All we're going to do is tell you the truth. For Yah ordained me to tell you the truth, and this is what I'm going to do. And who is this Yah? Yah is the creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is. Yah is the Elohim of our fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yisrael, whom you may know as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yah is our king. He's our judge. He's our lawgiver. And Yah is our only savior. And not just of Israel. Yah is the savior of the world. And I thank Yah again for allowing us to come to you another week, another day, bringing to you his great, holy, and exalted words. Today, we will deal with one of the most important subjects that we can teach and bring to you, called the light. And there's two types of light that the Creator wants you to know about. And these two types of light, one is physical, but the other one is spiritual. But both are highly important, very necessary, very important to the establishment of your relationship with the Most High. So you got to have both. These two lights, the physical as well as the spiritual, are really intertwined with one another. But because most people don't know about the two, oftentimes they will emphasize one and not the other. Or they will minimize one. Or even both. And I want you to see how important the light is. Period. Whether it's physical or whether it's spiritual. And we're going to deal with this week because there's various aspects of the light that you just can't do in one teaching. You have to do this over a course of a week because it's that detailed, that vast, and really that important. So let's see if you can understand and if you are in tune with the Most High. The first thing the Creator lets us know, and right before I tell you this and share this with you, yes, it is true. We have gotten the reports about one of our brothers down in Brunswick, Georgia, who was shot down cold-bloodedly by two racists and another racist filming, recording the assassination of our brother. Little do people know this happened well over a month ago. So this just didn't happen. It just made the news. And, of course, even though this happened over a month ago, well over that time, they just now arrested the individuals that did the killing. And I don't know what they waiting on when it comes to the one who was filming, videotaping, recording, when they know for a fact that he was with the party that did the killing. Know him very well. One of my sisters sent me a picture today with one of the racists hugging up with the governor of Georgia. No wonder it took well over a month to arrest these racists. And yes, they are racist. They wouldn't have did this to somebody white. The only reason this was done is not because this brother of ours was committing a crime. He wasn't committing a crime at all. But now his life is taken from him. And we're going to be talking about that also this week. I just want you to know that we on top of everything, as well as this plague that's still ravaging our people. Totally ravaging. So the subject that we're speaking about, the light, is very important to your salvation. As a matter of fact, there's nothing more important to your salvation than what we about to speak on this week. And it's called the light. And let me show you how important the light is, whether it's physical or spiritual. And there is a physical light, but there is a spiritual light. But both have everything to do with your salvation. Watch this in the book of Genesis. Let's go there first. Genesis, the first chapter. Because this is the first time you even see the word light mentioned. The scripture says in Genesis 1:1, in the beginning Elohim created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void. In other words, if the earth didn't have any form, that's because it didn't exist. It didn't have nothing. One can't say it was in a circle. One can't say it was a square. Nobody can say it's flat because it was without form. And it was void. In other words, there was nothing in it, and it didn't even have a form. And darkness was upon the face of the deep, which lets you know the deep, there was waters, but even though there was water, there still was darkness, no form, and empty, other than water. And the Spirit of Elohim moved upon the face of the waters. And it wasn't nothing in this water. There was no life. There was no vegetation. There was no fish. There was no sea creatures. There was no nothing. There was nothing except for one thing: darkness. And obviously this darkness wasn't too good because there was nothing in it. And all you got to do is ask yourself, what can survive in such darkness? Unless you have something such as the Spirit of Elohim. And what did the Spirit of Elohim do while on the face of the waters? 3rd verse. And Elohim said, let there be light. And there was light. And Elohim saw the light, that it was good. And Elohim separated the light from the darkness. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. So as we read this, we find that the Almighty created and made this physical light that came by the way of his word. He said, let there be light, and it was light. But when Yahweh said, let there be light, even though this is a physical light that one can actually see, but this physical light also had a spiritual component to it. And you got to know both sides of the coin. What sense does it make to have heads and no tail? You got up but no down. You got in but no out. And to this light, there was physical and there's spiritual. And you just read about this physical that Yahweh ushered in. And when Yahweh ushered in this light, one of the first things he said about it, that he never said about darkness. Not one time. Not one time. But this is what he said about the light. The 3rd verse. Or the 4th verse. And Elohim saw the light, that it was good. So good, Yahweh separated the light from the darkness. He didn't even want them to coexist together. He didn't even want them to be intermingled together, because he saw that the light was good. And this is what we have to see. So this week, we're going to talk about this good stuff, these good things, the good that Yahweh saw, because he left on record some of these good things. And we're yet to learn all the good things that Yahweh saw in it. But he gave us enough knowledge today that we can discern some of the good things that Yahweh saw. And that's just the physical light. This is why during our health week, we told you one of the things that you have to do, you have to come into the light, whether it's physical or spiritual. The false lights that we have in our houses, you think that's healthy for us? People talking about 5G. Don't you know the lights in your house give off negative energy? These lights are no good at all. This is why they try to change these various lights all the time. And when you read in the scriptures about the various lights in the sanctuary and the temple, most of these lights came on at night and not by a switch. We had candles, we had real light called fire. And of course, our people don't have that today. Our people have these false lights that's on way too long, and then we wonder why we are blind. That's because we refuse to see the good things that Yahweh saw when he said he saw that the light was good. And what was the spiritual component? We see the physical component, that the light was good, this physical light that Yahweh said, let there be light. Well, let me show you the physical good, the spiritual good of this same light. Because the scriptures don't differentiate the light, whether it's physical or spiritual. It used the same exact Hebrew word, and it comes from the Hebrew word or. So it's not telling you whether it's physical or spiritual. This is something that you will have to discern. But I'm here to tell you, whether it's physical, whether it's spiritual, they both are good. And you have to come into that light. The light is not going to come to you. Watch what it says in the book of Psalms 97. And what I'm doing is giving you a great or an overview of what we will deal with extensively in detail, in a detailed way this week. And why? Because there is no salvation without you understanding the light. There's none. Watch what it says in the book of Psalms 97. We read the physical light where Yahweh said, let there be light, and there was light. But watch, hear what Yahweh said about the light. In the book of Psalms 97, we're going to start reading the 11th verse. And this is what it says. Light, yes, L-I-G-H-T, the same light, or light is sown for the righteous, and gladness for the upright in heart. Yeah, light is sown for the righteous. Now, one should say to themselves, if light is sown to the righteous, then what is this light? I need to know more about this light. If it's for the righteous, and if I see myself as being the righteous, should not I want to know what this light is, what it's about, how to get it? Am I part of it? And how can you know about the light and have great understanding of the light, and you reject the physical light? How can you then understand the spiritual light? And you reject the physical light that you can see. The spiritual light might be something you can't even recognize because you don't even understand the good that Yahweh saw in the light. So if you reject that physical light, chances are you're going to reject the spiritual light. And if you're not coming in the physical light, chances are you're not going to come in the spiritual light. And if you think you're part of the physical light, then you only can think that you're part of the spiritual light. In other words, you don't even know. You don't even know. Because you still have not learned how good this light is. And watch this in the book of Ecclesiastes. I want you to see this in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. Because Yahweh gave names to the light. Of course, one of the lights he gave names to, the physical light, I may add. He called the light day. Even though we want to call this light all kind of other names. He called it Yom in Hebrew, day in English. But we want to call it all kind of things. Why can't we just trust in Yah? This is how we reject the light. We call the light by something Yahweh didn't call the light. We don't come in the light because we rather being dark. That's why we have these big, thick curtains to keep the light out. We don't want this light in. It's too much light. So we buy these fancy, big, nice curtains. You'll never see the light. Watch what it says. In the book of Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. The very first verse. Remember now your Creator in the days of your youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw near, when you shall say, I have no pleasure in them. And watch this second verse. While the sun, which is a light, or the light, which comes before the sun, or the moon, which is a light by night, or the stars, which also is a light by night, are not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. And all these lights are good, and they all have their purposes. They all have their purpose in this circle of life. And they all are good. Yahweh said, let there be light, and there was light. That was a physical light. The sun, moon, and stars, those are physical lights. And he had these four lights. And these four lights, and why for? Because they all represent Yah's praise. As a matter of fact, 3 of them were made on the 4th day, the day of his praise. And we're going to get a little bit more into these 4 different lights, because we're talking about the light. How else will you know times and seasons without these lights? Of course, some people will just make one of these lights greater than all the lights, the light of the moon. And this is not the truth. It's not even close to the truth. Nor is it the word of Yahweh. And I'm going to show you that. Matter of fact, he called 2 of them great, but he said the greater light shall rule the day. But we had like he never said that. Again, these are physical lights. And these physical lights, I'm going to show you, in their physical manifestation, it has everything to do with your salvation. But I'm going to show you the spiritual light also has everything to do with your salvation. That's why no matter if it's physical or spiritual, you must come into the light. And you cannot come into the light if you don't understand the light. If you don't understand its purposes. And the very first thing Yahweh said Let there be light, and there was light. And he saw that the light was good. And then why can't you see that? If Yahweh saw that this physical light was good, then why can't you see it? And if you see it, then what's good about it? What's good about it? Why ain't you exalting it? And exalting it not in a way, in a manner to worship, exalting it in a manner to use it as it was intended for. But again, there's a spiritual light, and you got to have both. This is the only way to be balanced. And our people are totally out of balance. And let me show you this. In the book, again, that's physical light. Now let's go to the spiritual light, which is in the book of Psalms 119. In the book of Psalms 119. And we're going to read the 130th verse of Psalms 119. And watch what this says. The entrance of your words gives light. It gives understanding to the simple. Now we're getting into the heat of the battle. Because it says the entrance of your words gives light. So we know when Yahweh began to speak, light began to come forth. And the very first thing Yahweh said is, let there be light. No wonder it says the entrance of your words gives light. But that's spiritual. It's also physical. And we know it's spiritual because it said it gives understanding to the simple. That's how powerful the light is. And you got to know the physical manifestation and its purpose, and the spiritual manifestation and its purpose. And both, and I'm here to tell you, both are about your salvation. Both are. And this is something that our people should have been knowing many years ago. They should have known this, how important the light is. If we knew how important the light is, there would never be argument, debate on day and night. That argument is born because we have been following our enemies, not because we've been following the scriptures. Because if we've been following the scriptures, it wouldn't even be a debate. It wouldn't be an argument. It wouldn't be strife or confusion. Because we will see that the light, physically and spiritually, has everything to do with our salvation. The entrance of your words gives darkness. No, it don't give darkness at all. It didn't say that at all. It said it gives light. And not only it gives light, it gives understanding to the simple. And watch this thing in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 2nd chapter. And I love this in Ecclesiastes, the 2nd chapter. And we're talking about the light. And we're going to be detailed with this light, how important this light is. And everybody talking about all these dark things and going out at night, when Yahweh wanted you to come out into the light. No wonder when people die, I don't know if it's true or not, they say, I seen a light. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. But light is essential. Watch this in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 2nd chapter. Ecclesiastes 2, and watch what it says. Because this is how important this is. He said, Ecclesiastes 2 and 13. And watch what it says. Then I saw that wisdom excels folly, as far as light excels darkness. What is the debate and the argument about day and night and light and darkness when the light excels darkness as far as wisdom excels folly? It wouldn't even be a comparison to try to compare wisdom and folly. Folly is dealing with fools. But yeah, we will have this debate as if it's some type of honest type of debate or some good debate about day and night, which is light and darkness. And that's the physical light. But as you can see, this physical light, and what is the physical light? It says light excels darkness. That's physical. You can see the light. You can see the darkness. But how far do it excels darkness? As far as wisdom excels folly, and that's spiritual. Because wisdom is a spirit. Folly is a spirit too. Folly is just foolishness. That's a spirit. So why? What is the wrestling? What is the debate? What is the argument? All we have to do is come into the light, whether it's physical or spiritual. They both are good, and we got to know both in order for us to be balanced, because we must know its purpose, and it has great purposes that we have to learn about. And I'm going to show you how important those purposes are, because there's some questions that you should be asking yourself. Watch this in the book of Proverbs. Again, we just read about this physical light and darkness, but then you get to the book of Proverbs, the 6th chapter, and watch what this is. Because the light, that's what we're talking about. It has physical and spiritual purposes. And they both have everything to do with your salvation. Now, the darkness, physically as well as spiritually, has everything to do with the opposite. Your death. But now we're talking about the light. In the book of Proverbs, the 6th chapter, watch what it says. And I'm going to read the 23rd verse. For it says, for the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light. Could you imagine this saying the law is darkness? Could you imagine the commandment is a dark alley? No. The commandment is a lamp. The law is light. And reproofs of instructions are the way of life. In other words, this is, again, the spiritual manifestation of light. You have the physical light, and then you have the spiritual light. And what is that spiritual light? The commandment. What else is the spiritual light? The law. Because the law is light. Commandment is a lamp. Why do you think Yahweh put these luminaries in the firmament of heaven to get light upon the earth? You thought it was just physical? No. There's a spiritual component to the light. But it has its physical purposes. And I'm going to show you the physical purpose. And I'm going to show you the spiritual purpose. And let me show you the physical purpose first. And it's unfortunate that the mass majority of our people do not adhere to the physical purposes of the light. Watch what it says in the book of Jeremiah 31. How can you come to the light? How can you walk in the light? How can you see the light? How can you incline your ear to the light? How can you work in the light? How can your feet walk the path of light and you don't even know its purpose? Watch what it says in the book of Jeremiah 31. And I'm going to start reading at the 35th verse. This is the physical purpose of the light. And let's see if you adhere to this. Watch what it says. Thus says Yahweh, which gives the sun for a light by day. And the word day is light. And the ordinances of the moon and the stars for a light by night. So why, Yahweh? Why are you doing that, Yahweh? Which divides the sea when the waves thereof war. Yahweh of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, says Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. Don't you see this? Don't you see not understanding these lights? Not keeping these ordinances in their proper order? Because if these ordinances depart, you can kiss Israel goodbye. And that's the physical lights. Because the physical light have ordinances that one must keep. That's why I said you must come into the light. Our people just been taught bad. They've been taught wrong. They've been bamboozled. So now our people won't even come into the light. And if it can be dark all the time, they will love it. It get too light early. I hate the light coming this early. Close the curtains and let it be dark. What is so bad about the physical light that we don't want to go into the light? We don't want to rise with the light. Yahweh said he saw the light, that it was good. And why can't you see what's good in the light? And Yahweh said if the ordinances of the light depart, Israel will depart. And that's the physical light. And I told you these lights have everything to do with your salvation. Yahweh loved the light so much and thought it was so good and never called the darkness good. Never, not one time. Even though he made it. Even though he created it. He still never called it good. But that's what he said concerning the light in the book of Psalms 113. Still the physical. Because I want you to see what this physical light is all about. Because too many are rejecting this physical light. How are we going to walk in the light and we never walk in the light? The physical light. I'm going to wait till the sun go down. What you waiting till the sun go down for? That's the physical light. In other words, we're not walking in the light of Yah, period. When was the last time you walked in the physical light? To behold the goodness of Yahweh in Psalms 113. Still dealing with the physical light. Since we're talking about the light. Watch what it says in Psalms 113. Starting at the first verse. Praise you, Yah. Praise, O you servants of Yah. Praise the name of Yah. Blessed be the name of Yah from this time forth and forevermore. And watch what the third verse say. From the rising of the sun to the going down of the same, Yahweh's name is to be praised. Is that a mistake? Because you notice it don't say from evening to evening shall Yahweh's name is to be praised. It don't say from evening to morning shall Yahweh's name be praised. But rather it says from the rising of the sun to the going down of the same, Yahweh's name is to be praised. What can't we understand about that? No wonder we all jacked up, mixed up, confused, and plundered and spoiled. Because we refuse to accept just a simple word of Yahweh. The simple truth. And I'm going to show you what the simple truth is. I'm going to show you how Yahweh make wise the simple. Because it's the simple truth. Watch this in the book of Psalms 50. Still dealing with the physical light. The very first verse, Psalms 50. And this is what it says. The mighty Elohim, even Yahweh, has spoken and called the earth, not just telling you to praise him from the rising of the sun to the going down of the same. He called the earth from the rising of the sun to the going down thereof. That's when he called the earth. Not from evening to morning as you've been taught, as you've been led to believe. Not from evening to evening, but from the rising of the sun to the going down thereof. All day long, which is all light long. Because all day long is from morning until evening. And we must come in the physical light. That's important. That's essential. That's a must. Here it is. We talking about we walk in the light and Yah, light of Yah, and we don't walk at all. When was the last time you walked? And then if you did walk, when was the last time you walked in Yahweh's light? Because until you do this, you won't even know what good is. Yahweh saw the light and he saw that it was good. And I can assure you, if you walk in the light, you will see that it's good. But you're not walking in it. You have closed yourself off to Yahweh because you refuse to walk in his light physically and spiritually. And you just seen the physical. Well, let me show you the spiritual. Watch this. In the book of Isaiah, the 9th chapter. And this is what it says. In the book of Isaiah, the 9th chapter, the 2nd verse, it says, the people that walked in darkness, which is not a good thing. And that's what our people are doing, walking in darkness, not in the light. But watch this. But there are some. The people that walked in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, and I can assure you, this is the land of the shadow of death. All we see is death of our people. Upon them has the light shined. And why is the light shining on these people who was walking in darkness? And a great light began to show. And I'm going to show you why that darkness turned into light. Because there's only one place that light come from anyway. And we're going to show you that. Still talking about this spiritual light. And this is the spiritual light. In Isaiah the 8th chapter. And watch what it says. The 20th verse. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So therefore, most people, you already can tell whether they have light or not. All you got to do is see if they speaking according to this word. So it don't matter what they say. Just say it. And then we search the word to see what you're saying is the truth. And the mass majority of the people, we see that that is not the truth. By no stretch of the imagination. Because the words that they speak, you cannot find it here. You can't find it. We're talking about the light and how important the light is physically and spiritually. But there's aspects of the light that one must understand. Because the light, Yahweh said, he saw that it was good. And why can't we see that is good? Physically as well as spiritually. And why aren't we walking in this good thing? Yahweh thought upon the light so much, he admonished those that would try to confuse you, to make you think that the light is darkness and the darkness is light. Yahweh didn't like that at all, because Yahweh was the one that separated them. And Yahweh was the one who called the light good. And watch what he said in the book of Isaiah, the 5th chapter, Isaiah 5. And we're going to read the 20th verse. This is what it says. Woe. And what does the word woe mean? Hey, if you told you riding a horse and you said, whoa, the horse will stop. And so Yahweh is saying to you, whoa. But what is he saying woe about? Watch what it says. Woe unto them that call evil good. And this is what people do. They'll do some evil and try to justify the evil and turn it into good. Yeah, but they had to do it. It had to be done. No, what you did was evil. And you can't tell the difference between evil and good? But woe unto them that call evil good and good evil. And here it is. You got some people, you'll be doing good like keeping the Sabbath day, and they'll make it seem like you're doing evil. You doing good by having counseling sessions and counseling with one another. They will make that evil. But watch what else it says. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil. And watch this. That put darkness for light and light for darkness. In other words, they won't separate them at all. They'll just say, no, it's a day. So when do your day start? At night? How you just going to put darkness for light? There is no darkness that's called day. And then they'll put light for darkness. And Yah said, woe unto that. This is confusion. This is evil. This is not good. And that put better for sweet and sweet for better. So in other words, these are people who are attempting to not bring you into the light. But these are souls that are trying to take the light from you. No wonder the scripture says, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. Because they really trying to take the light out of you. And every day you have dark souls that's trying to take light from light souls. And the only good thing is you have the light souls trying to bring the dark souls out of darkness, which is exactly what we are attempting to do. Because whether this light is physical or spiritual, you must come into the light. And why? Just imagine, without light, physically or spiritually, you can't see nothing. Spiritually or physically, spiritually, you can't hear, which means you can't understand it. Spiritually or physically or spiritually, your heart won't be no good if there's no light. And I'm going to show you every aspect of your physical being. You must have light. Your hands, your feet, your heart, your soul, your eyes, your ears must adorn itself with light. Every aspect. And if you never come into the light, it can only mean one thing, that you're full of darkness. And the only thing Yahweh said is full of darkness is the wicked. And watch what the Creator lets us know in the book of Psalms 19. Show you how vitally important this light is. Because we already read where the law is light. We already read where the commandment is a lamp. But watch what it says in Psalms 19. In the book of Psalms 19, the 7th verse, it says, the law of Yahweh is perfect, converting the soul. Now, see how important the law is to your soul? It converts it. But it's already said the law is light. So in other words, that's exactly what the light is doing. It's converting your soul because your light must be adorned with light. Watch this. The second thing, the testimony of Yahweh is sure, making wise the simple. See, that's what the testimony of Yahweh, it takes a simple person, a foolish person, and makes them wise, make them sure of the thing that they are doing. And the scriptures already told us, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. Watch what it says. The statutes of Yahweh are right, rejoicing the heart. See how important these statutes are? And the word of Yahweh is light. So now your heart is made better. All because of the light. Because they're right. They're good. The commandment of Yahweh, and we already read where the commandment is a lamp, is pure, enlightening the eyes. So what is this light doing? It's turning on your soul, your wisdom. It's turning on your heart. It's enlightening your eyes. What is the fifth thing it's doing? The fear of Yahweh, which is a spirit, is clean, enduring forever. In other words, the fear of Yahweh is what extends your life. It's the thing that give you long life. No wonder the scriptures say in the fifth commandment, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which Yah thy Elohim giveth thee. Because the fifth increases you. And there is nothing that can increase you more than the fear of Yahweh. The sixth thing will do two things. Watch what it says. The judgments of Yahweh are true and righteous altogether. So even though it's 6 things, it does 7 things for you. And we got to have truth and righteousness. We got to have it. And truth and righteousness will not exist unless Yahweh judgments are in the earth. And I want you to see that. Watch this. In the book of Isaiah 42. Because we're talking about the light. And we're just now, this is just the beginning. This is an overview of the light, and we're going to show you how important this light is. Isaiah 42. And watch what this says. The very first verse. Behold my servant, whom I uphold, my elect in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. And what type of judgment will he bring? It's going to let us know. He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall he not break, and a smoking flax shall he not quench. Watch what it says. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. And why? Because the judgments of Yahweh are truth and righteous all together. That's why. Watch what it says. He shall not fail, nor be discouraged, till he has set judgment in the earth. And the owl shall wait for his law. And so, because most people don't know these judgments, they're not listening to these judgments, this is what Yahweh said to them in the 18th verse of this same chapter. Hear you deaf, and look you blind, that you may see. Who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger that I sent? Who is blind as he that is perfect, and blind as Yahweh's servant? What you mean, Yahweh? I'm not blind, I can see. Yahweh, I'm not deaf, I can hear. No, but you see many things, but you observe not. In other words, you act like you blind. Open your ears, but he hears not. In other words, you act like you deaf. Because you refuse to adhere to these judgments that Yahweh is bringing back to the earth. Yahweh is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law
90 seconds
and make it honorable. That's what Yahweh will do. That's what Yahweh is going to do. And we're talking about the light. How important this light is. How essential it is. The physical light as well
60 seconds.
as the spiritual light. And you must have both. Both are important. Both are essential. Both are needed. Both you have to walk in. And just a couple more scriptures about this great light, because I want you to understand why we are going into such details about this light. Because there's certain things our people don't understand. They don't even know what it
10
means.
seconds.
And let me show you. One of the things that our people really don't understand. And you'll see it in the book of Isaiah, since we're in Isaiah. (49). These last two scriptures I want you to see. And these two scriptures is just to have you to meditate on what do this really mean. Don't just look at it on the surface. Watch what it says in Isaiah 49:6. And he said, it is a light thing that you should be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob. That's a light thing. That anybody can carry that weight. It's light. Even though you say it's hard. But that's some light-weighted stuff. But watch what it says. And to restore the preserve of Israel. That's not hard. That's a light thing. But let me give you something heavy. And this is the heavy thing we want you to search out and see if you really understand it. Watch what it says. I will also give you for a light to the Gentiles, that you may be my salvation unto the end of the earth. Now, what do that mean? That you are a light to the Gentiles. Physically and spiritually. What do that mean? Some might say, well, that just means they're going to follow us. You think it's just that simple? No, you better go deeper than that. What is this light thing that Yahweh said will be a light to the Gentiles? And not only did he say we'll be a light to the Gentiles, he also said this in the book of Isaiah 60. Turn there. The last verse. The very first verse. Arise, shine, for your light is come. What is this light that belongs to us that's coming? And the glory of Yahweh is risen upon you. How do that look? Where is this light coming from? How is this light manifested? And how will it look? For behold, darkness shall cover the earth, gross darkness the people. But Yahweh, in other words, at the same time, darkness is covering the earth, which is not good. The same time, gross darkness is covering the people. Watch what it says. But Yahweh shall arise upon you, and his glory shall be seen upon you. And what is that? And how would that look? How is that manifested? Give us understanding of this thing. Break it down so we can see, know, and understand. Watch the third verse. And the Gentiles shall come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your rising. What is this light? What is the light? What is this rising that will be manifested? Surely, this light is something that Yahweh himself saw as good. So should not we see it as good? This is something that Yahweh said will rise upon us. Should not we know from whence it come and how it will come, when it will come, where it will come, how it will look, since the Gentiles shall come to the brightness of our rising? A lot of things must be answered. A lot of questions and dark sayings and dark things must be brought to the light. Let us uncover these things. So until tomorrow, Yahweh loves you, and so do I. Shalom.
I'm the messenger, Yah, stepping out of Beulah. From Babylon to Zion, my chains are looser in my mind, but out here the jakes will shoot ya. The judge is judge for hire, the jury's are straight liars. Just to see Israel fried up, they got our phones tapped and wired up. The police got you stuck, no one desires us. This law requires us to buy this man's trust. Pay to get salvation, who you playing? But I pulled your card, I seen your stars, they false lights. My spirit spit lyrics so cold, your frostbite. And that's the attitude from your murderous plight, from your rapists every night, and young boys shot down in the street in they mama's sight. Your overseers call this the good life, like the hood's right, rep Zion, that's right, Yah's way, that's life. The ships of Tarshish, the glory of Lebanon will offload to Yah's land. That's what we stepping on. The next plane won't miss the Pentagon. The bees is dying, Florida is drying. Look like death coming to Babylon. The nation about to be born. A pure language giving the call on the name of Yah. All people will serve the sun, the black supremacist. No hippie on the stick, looking like Dennis the Menace. The demon is finished. When the wicked fall, the meek increase. Israel is free. Rejoice in the death of the beast. The resurrection of Yah's people. All your children will be righteous, walking in Yah's likeness, mirth and happiness, all glory in the land that Yah is blessed. See the truth manifesting